What is
Hello,
this show
guys.
called?
We have since changed the name to Nurses Off Duty Podcast.
Lavish.
No, let's call it, let's talk.
That's it. Palais.
Palais.
And Labrish. Palais, which is talking in Creole, and Labrish is patois in Jamaican.
We just call it,
Let's talk.
let's talk.
Okay. All right.
So you want to introduce
Hi,
yourself?
everyone. Welcome to our first episode of our podcast. We are the hosts for Let's Talk. That's the name of this podcast. This is
Addie.
and my name is Angie. Welcome, everyone. We're here to discuss very important topics. However, this is for entertainment purposes.
Talk about our relationship. I'm Addie. This is Angie. We're best friend. My background is I'm Haitian.
Okay.
She's Jamaican.
Yes,
We've
I
been
am.
best friend for what, 25 years.
Yes.
Well, that's aging us. We've been best friends for 25 years.
Over 25 years.
I think over 25 years. We've said we want to do this because we have ideas.
Great ideas.
To begin with, professionally, I guess I'm a registered nurse, also a nurse practitioner. She's also a registered nurse. She has a master's in nursing education that she has not been using because we'll talk about that another time.
That's another podcast.
Another podcast.
Yeah.
I've been traveling as a registered nurse and as an NP.
Yeah.
So I think our first topic is going to be what's really been trending.
Hot. Yes.
Is what happened in Florida. And believe it or not, I have close connections to some of these individuals, not by association, but not closely direct
Experience from the job. Yeah.
But also some of these names that I'm hearing in the media, I've encountered some of these individuals, so I might be tell you a little bit about them. Okay, so
Yeah.
what do you want to say about that?
No, the thing is, we're very down to earth people. We're very what down to earth and not so stuck up. So this podcast is going to be more relaxed. We're going to talk about different topics that personally affect us, personally affect others, and whether directly or indirectly, but it affects us in some way.
Our community.
Yes, and those are topics that we think we can actually discuss and sometimes bring another perspective, another way of thinking that you guys might not be able to think about. Most topic of discussion is not just one way, and that's what we're here for. We're going to discuss all of that, and these are our own opinion, guys.
Only our opinion.
Only opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. We're not here to educate anyone. We're just here to give you some information.
But
inform, but not necessarily educate.
And for a good discussion, we
Yes.
can have a good discussion. Some things you're not going to agree with
Never.
that we're saying, but we're always welcome to your opinion. We're
Yes.
always welcome to have a discussion about your point of view, because I think that's what makes for great discussion, and also I learned a lot when we talk. This is what the foundation of this podcast is because sometimes we debate over topics. Her point of view might be totally different than mine. But at the same time, at the end, we typically come to an agreement or disagreement, like we're going to agree to disagree on that particular topic.
Yes. And it is always something that you guys can, have the first seat in our discussion. So welcome. So the topic that we're going to talk about, she mentioned it, but she didn't really go into it, is about that fake nursing license and all that debacle that's going on in Florida, and nurses are getting licensed that they didn't even work for. So we want to dive into it right now because it's a hot topic. We can also put in our discussion about it because we are firsthand. I might not know somebody directly who have a fake license, but boy, sometimes I'm on the floor working and I swear.
It's not adding up. It's not, the nursing is not nursing.
Exactly. You mean the nurse is not a nurse?
It's not nursing.
Exactly.
That's a trend term, like it's not,
Yes.
But I think, honestly, we should start about the process to become a nurse.
Yes.
Like legally.
Yes.
and maybe we can talk about our experience. That's a very good topic.
Yeah.
Let's talk about like maybe how I became a nurse or how.
I think that's what we should discuss, because we didn't really because everything has changed in nursing, the way how to go about getting the license. Hours in clinical have changed, so we didn't do that type of research, so we can't really come here and talk about that. But I'm going to talk about my true experience. You know, when I was in nursing school, and of course Addie have her own experience that we're going to talk about, and I'm just going to give you the highlight points and not make it a drag out. But I think it was in 1999 or maybe 1998, right? But I have to show them.
Yeah.
Back then, which was over 21, 22 years ago, when I wanted to go to nursing school, I did my research, and of course, my research sent me to the local college here. And I just look up and see what prerequisite they wanted. I got myself in college. I started the work towards entering into nursing program. And any nursing program that you want to enter in, guys, they have the curriculum online. You know exactly what classes to take so you can get into the program.
And the prerequisites first.
Yes, and that is exactly what I did. And I applied to this program, and I got into this program. Now, my RN license back then, it took me 2 years. And guys, let me tell you something. This is 2 years of hard work. This is 2 years to get my associate before, no, actually, I think it's a year and a half to get the prerequisite to get in the program. And then while you're in the nursing program, it is 2 solid years. Now, I remember back then in my program, the first semester, we started clinicals. The first, you did probably 6 weeks of class, and then the second, after that, but it was the first semester, I started clinicals. And when I say clinicals, we're not going out there to do work and take care of patients. We are going out there to shadow nurses in their prospective area.
An experienced nurse.
Yes, I just remember started the first semester, and it was hard work, guys. And but when you're in the nursing program, you have to cultivate friendship, because that's the only way you're going to get through the program. And so let me let Addie talk a little bit how she started her program, and so you don't get bored with my voice. Go ahead, Addie.
First of all, I took a different route than Angie did. The only reason I'm a nurse today is because she's a nurse. Because originally my first degree is I have a bachelor's degree in finance and a minor in real estate. So I had no desire to become a nurse when we were in our younger years, in our 20s, in our early teens. My vision was I wanted to be in business. That's always been my desire. I went to business school. To make a long story short, however, I was running away from an ex. So I ended up living.
That's another. We have some juicy topics.
That's another topic. So I called her husband, which was probably going to be a guest of this podcast eventually, to come get me, and he just came and got me. So I moved in her house with her, and I think we were having a discussion one day.
Guys, you know what was happening? She was working some crazy hours and bringing in a little bit of check. And she accidentally saw my check working 3 days a week. And she was like, what the hell?
So that's how it started. So we were sitting she just had my godson. And I was telling her, like, I'm working 9 to 5, which I hate. I'm not a morning person. However, she was working like per diem, which is like as needed, like 2-3 days. I think it was 2 days. And I saw her paycheck on the coffee table, and she said, oh, that's just for only 2 days. Guys, the next day I registered to nursing school. But I actually registered since I had a bachelor's degree. But back in the day, now there's a lot of, and we're going to talk about all these different programs, all these pop-up schools. Back in the 90s, there was very few schools. There was a community college. You can go directly to.
I know 3.
Right. There was like very, very few little schools that you can actually get your nursing degree.
In this little area.
That
Palm
we're
Beach
in,
County.
Palm Beach County.
Yeah.
So we decided, and the process would have been longer for me to go try to do all the prerequisites. Since my original degree was in business, I'm missing a lot of the science classes. That could be another year just to do the science classes before I started becoming a registered nurse. So she said, why don't you just do your LPN? It's only 1 year. And behold, I'm in business. I don't even know what the LPN is. So LPN is licensed practical nurse. And you can complete that program in less than a year. So that was my route. And of course, it was then after that, a few years later, I worked for several years as a LPN, mostly in this what you call SNF, nursing home, rehab facilities. So I did that, and then I decided, well, then I found a program that did a second bachelor degree. So I did an accelerated bachelor in nursing, which took me 1 year. That alone, when we talk about this, I will tell you, that was hell on earth. That was 10 times harder.
It was intensive. It was an intensive program.
But harder than my bachelor's that I did in 4 years.
And the thing is, that program, guys, you have to have a bachelor in another degree to get to jump into the accelerated program.
Right.
Yes.
So that program in itself, and if Angie don't mind me saying, we're going to talk about the sacrifice that we've made. And I can start with that. The program that I found, I was researching a program that was going to be quick, and it was going to be I didn't want to do another, so I decided to move actually to Orlando, which is what, three and a half hours away from here. Gave up my 401k, drained my 401k.
But that was an excellent program, though.
Right, excellent program. But you cannot work because, like I said, it's intense.
Intensive, yeah.
You're doing a 4-year program in 1 year. So that means there was every semester you at least had 3 different clinical sites that you were going to make up for the experience that you would have done in a slower paced program.
Yeah.
So when we hear about these
nurses,
fake nurses that took the short route, how do you feel about that? Because we know the sacrifice we made to get get where we're here.
The thing that's crazy, because I have mixed feelings about this, because at first when the news broke, I felt bad for the nurses that already had their license. I really did, because I'm like, oh my God, now they're going to lose their license, and
they never had it.
Yes.
They never had it.
But and this is why I tell people all the time, when a news like this break, take time, guys, to do a little bit of research and find out what's really going on. But the more news is coming out, my mind obviously have changed. Right now, they all need to go to jail.
Well,
no, but one of the reasons why I feel strongly about this now is because I'm thinking, you know what? You are on the floor. You're taking care of sick people. When a patient go in the hospital, when a patient is in the rehabilitation center, they are sick. They're in an acute stage. They're depending on us, the nurses or doctors, whosoever is in that environment to take care of them.
I don't know how, to be honest, how can you, any nurse who knows, like I travel, I've been traveling for 4 years. I started way before COVID. A lot of people now, it's a hot topic, but I started traveling way before that. So every hospital, every setting is different.
The setting is different, but the nursing should be the same.
The only thing you're bringing, the setting is different, but your skills should still be intact. But however, even as an experienced nurse, it's still, you get a little nervous the first couple of days because the environment, you have to find where everything is, tubings, the supplies, and the charting system is different.
But
at most places.
Yeah, but you're going to chart the same. What your assessments are, yeah.
But to me, what's mind-boggling to me is how did they survive? And I've had some experience, we'll talk about that, about some nurses I've run into the last 2 years that made me question. The questions that you're asking me, any nursing 101 student will know this, and I was taken back.
They don't know the basics. They don't know the basic. They don't know the basic, guys, and they're taking care of sick people and putting people's life at risk for death or other critical injury because they don't know what the hell they're doing. And the more I thought about it, the more I got angry. I'm like, they need to be in jail. I'm sorry, a year or maybe 5 years probation. I don't know what it is. But you're not going to tell me, because at first, Addie, to be honest, I'm thinking, oh my God, these are naive people who don't know the program. But I'm like, no. You have a skill, you're going to take care of a patient, and you're going to buy a diploma. You know that you needed to go to class. You know that you needed to go to clinical.
But there's no way, honestly, like I have a friend who's a nurse practitioner. We're just having this discussion. She's a nurse practitioner. She has not practiced bedside for several years now. She's strictly working as a nurse practitioner. She's like, Addie, I'm afraid to go on the floor now because I've been away from it for so long. How do you, and she has skills, she has experience. She's like, how did they survive? And I'm not going to talk about the consequences of this action.
That's the thing.
It's greed. And to me, I think it's greed
greedy.
because we mentioned
they want the
yesterday.
money without doing the job.
Right, because we mentioned yesterday, we were talking, we said, even if you did it the way I did it, which is, I was never a nursing assistant, certified nursing assistant aide, never. But if you were even during COVID time, a lot of, you could do your CNA, some schools, there's so many schools now, you could do it in a few weeks and they would still make a decent amount of money because during COVID, a lot of CNAs were making regular RN salary, if not more.
That's where the greed come from. But Addie, you know what? If I'm not mistaken, I thought they said the investigation has been going on since
2019.
2019. So that's the height of the pandemic. And this is where desperate times, desperate measures, and people know exactly how to go about that and get fake license to treat and enter into these hospitals. Because at one time, a couple of the hospitals that I have worked, when you go on an interview and you bring a certain resume and they see a certain school in the resume, they're not going to hire you. But during the pandemic, of course, they're desperate. There was no one, so they're taking on a lot of these people who unfortunately. And now this is where we're at now, where everybody is going to 7,600 or 7,400 fake licenses out there.
I believe 25 or 2,600 took the boards, and now we can talk about the NCLEX. Took the boards and then passed.
Yeah.
So they're practicing now. If anybody who doesn't know anything about the NCLEX, that's our national board exam as for you to practice. You may go to nursing school, and a lot of people go to nursing school. Then once even they have the diploma, they have the degree, but you cannot practice. That's the second step. You have to pass the national board exam.
Yep.
So for you to pass that exam, to me, I took it twice because I took the LPN board and then I took the RN board. So that's how safe the process should be. Because even as a certified, when I was a licensed LPN, I still had to sit for the board for the registered nurse. So you can see how, when it comes to the medical field, how they wanted that safety measure in place.
Of course, it has to be because you're taking care of patients. But then again, and then the other part to this is, now we're learning that most of these students did not even take the boards in Florida. They're going all over other states that are easier or have unlimited try. Because we know in Florida you have 3 tries. After you have to go to remediation class and do almost the whole thing over again. And so maybe they should stop that. Meaning, if you get your license in Florida, if you go to school in Florida, you have to take the Florida boards. Maybe they should stop the cross-state exam. I don't know.
Well, I don't think we should punish a lot of people who are students. Maybe from for example, my school is an accelerated, like I said, second bachelor's. I had students from all over, from California, Ohio, all over the country. And those, why should we punish them? They did the right thing.
True.
They came to the program.
But that's how it always happens. That's how it always happens. You do the right thing and a bunch of people do the right thing, and it takes one person to do the wrong thing, and then life becomes harder for us.
But the problem is, I think we need to focus on more the Board of Nursing.
Yeah.
The Board of Nursing
needs to change.
Update
their system.
Just for you that don't know, the Board of Nursing is what regulate and issue or license, and not just nursing license, also the nurse practitioner license. So to go through the process, it was very tedious. You had to get fingerprinted twice. You had to submit all your transcript, I think from elementary school, high school, middle school. So I don't know how.
No, I don't think you have to submit your transcript from high school.
I think so.
For you?
I think I had to.
Oh,
because there's a part that asks you what elementary school you went to, what high school. I remember.
Oh, I don't
I mean,
remember
I could
that.
be wrong. It's been
it's been
like
that
what
part.
10 years for me.
I just
when I did the RN.
the college that I went to, I just remember they submitted our curriculum and our grades and everything that we did, and we had to do a background check, and they submitted everything, and then we had to wait for a letter in the mail or an email to tell us that it's okay to go ahead and set the boards. But guys, we're talking about 20 years back now. You know, so
20
it's
for
a
you,
lot of
but like
time.
maybe 10 for me, or when I did the RN.
The nurse practitioner was more recent.
And I did my
than you.
nurse practitioner, 28, I graduated in 2018.
Yeah.
That in itself we can talk about another day, because that's a different level also.
But guys, one of the main thing, very important thing that I want to touch on is like, yes, these nurses did go and take the boards, and yes, they did pass. Actually, they said they meet the minimum requirements to become a registered nurse, but almost all nurses would let you know that the tests and working on the floors are two different things. You understand
Nursing
me?
school is different.
Yes.
Speaking about nursing school, not to interrupt you, but one of my younger sisters just graduated last year, and one of the things she mentioned to me, she said, "This is not what I went to."
We're gonna
nursing
have to have
school
her
for."
on.
Yeah, she'll come and she will express herself.
Yeah.
She's like, "This is not what I went to nursing school. I felt like I was doing something special that very few could do, but anybody can do this because."
No, not anybody can.
But
go
she
ahead.
mentioned the fact that sometimes when you're in the floor, you're everything as a nurse. You're housekeeping, you're a counselor, you're what else? You're a
Everything.
nurse, you're the doctor, you're the family
Secretary.
But my sister, because she's A type, she wants to focus more on the patient care and not every other thing else that she has to do on the floor. But she just mentioned that she thought I was gonna be this, I'm a nurse, I focus on my duties, taking care of my patient. But that's another thing.
Which
Can
is
you imagine?
doing your assessment and
Can you
observation.
But can you imagine that you don't have the skills
To do any of that.
to do the basic part of nursing care? Then they throw everything.
That's the Jamaican in me, guys. I'm missing my teeth.
But how do you do everything else, and then how do you put orders? How do you communicate with doctors? I mean, guys, there is so many levels to being a nurse. Even as a graduate nurse, you went to clinicals. I forgot how many hours we had to do. We have to do research on that.
A lot.
Imagine you do.
I did a lot. I remember.
Yes, we did.
You know what? Let's just say, the school that I went to, when I graduated from that school, I had so much confidence because, when I got my first job, I'm like, I remember doing this while I was in clinicals, and that's it. I remember that. My God.
And you're on the floor. You're exposed to patient care. Even I think some program actually do not allow students to do certain things these days. But when I was going, you had to try, you had to touch the patient, you had to do all these things so you can learn. But I just can't imagine that you don't have any of the experience. You never went to the hospital. But another thing, a lot of people are saying that some of these nurses, because it's a lot of foreign people, like as a Haitian, I mean, I heard there's a lot of Haitian nurses.
It's you know what? A lot of people, let me tell you something. I don't understand. We have a problem here, and people want to focus on nationality.
A certain nationality.
Like, guys, really? Why are we going to focus? There is a lot of Jamaicans, there's a lot of Haitians, there's a lot of others. There's a lot of whites in there too. So it's a problem for everybody, but we want to just focus on one group. Come on, we need to stop that now.
And speaking of that, as now, when I go to work and when I travel, like I have a pending traveling assignment coming soon. When I go to another state, they're gonna ask me where am I from. I've never been hesitant to say these two things in my life. I've always been a proud Haitian woman. Very proud to be Haitian. I'll tell you, I'll put that in my forehead.
Florida, not the Florida is a problem.
And I love saying I'm from Florida. I'm like, don't you want to come here? You can't play with us. I'm from Florida. So for now, for me to be a little bit hesitant to say those things, I will never hesitate to say, because I'm going to say, because I know.
You know what you've done to get your license.
What I did to get my licenses, plural licenses.
Yes.
So at the same time, it's gonna come down on us where we're gonna be a lot of discrimination against us.
Well, Floridians,
especially when we're Black, especially when we're Haitian. They're gonna look at us and say, "Oh, where did you go to school? Or oh, did you go from one of those schools? And to me, I have to say this because I've been watching a lot of the TikToks in the media, Facebook, Instagram. A lot of us, whether you're Haitian, Jamaican, others that look like me, that looks like her, are the main one, just making these jokes about Florida. But the thing is, when somebody look at you as a Black American, as a Jamaican, when you go on the floor, until you tell them where you're from, they're not gonna know where you're from. So guess what? We all gonna get the butt of it. We're all gonna get discriminated against, right?
But the most important thing to remember, guys, even though the schools were in Florida, majority of those 7,600 or 7,400 students were not Floridians.
Nope.
They're people from all over the country, and that's very important to remember, But my thing is, let's go back to discussing the actual license and the impact. I'm not even talking about impact on nursing. I'm going to talk about impact on the patient themselves and the hospital, because now what kind of legal ramification is going to happen now to the hospital who did hire these nurses. And I don't think there should be any, because they did have a license from the board,
which is all they I'm sure that they're diligent to follow up and make sure that they had a license,
which they did,
and they had an education, they had a diploma, because I know every job I've had, you have to submit these things, and plus you had to sign a contract, even if it's a staffing position, saying that everything I'm saying on this is true to my best ability, correct?
They broke so many laws. That's why they need to either go to jail or on probation. I'm sorry. Something, what? And so I'm kind of happy I was saying that I'm happy that this happened, but let me try to explain what I mean by happy. I just felt like I've been a nurse since 2000. So 2000, 2001, 2002, sometimes I work with certain individuals while I was a nurse, and I'm saying to myself, wait a minute, no. This person did not go to nursing school. And that was since back then. You see what I mean? So what I'm trying to make is saying is that this has been going on where people have been buying stuff, and we're encountering these people on our work-to-work days on the floor, and we're questioning, there is no way this person went through the entire nursing program, because they know nothing. And when a nurse like that comes on your unit, it stresses the whole unit. It stresses the whole unit, because you can't even go on break because you don't trust this person to look after your patient while you take a break. So the whole 12-hour shift, you're not taking a good break, because the person who's supposed to cover you don't trust them, say they can't cover you, and it's not fair. So things needed to change.
But the thing is, at the same time, I think we should be also blowing the whistle.
I think somebody did. I always say something to a supervisor like, no, this person don't know what they need to know, and
So it's because in that way, because now we took an oath to do no harm. So I don't think these fake nurses didn't take no oath and said don't do no harm. We took an oath. So if we're experiencing that, and
I don't think they know there's nursing rules that exist.
Exactly, but even like all of us here, like she might have more experience in certain area than me, and I may have experience in another area than she does. We all have a comfortable level. We all have things that, for example, doing that, certain things I do not like a trach patient. I don't want to, it's still a little. So I can always tell another nurse, hey, I will put that Foley for you if you need trust. If you suction my patient.
Yeah.
And it's trust. Something like that, because, we all have that area that we don't like. And some people, it's a lot. Nursing is, I just can't imagine if, as a nurse, this is why I think it's making a lot of noise for other nurses, and I'm seeing a lot of the bloggers talking about this, is because those of us that are experienced, you have to be completely, when you're on the floor for 12 hours, you have to be mentally alert and physically alert, because you're moving, you're thinking, the labs are coming, you have to address the issues. And it's not just passing meds, because your patient may, for example,
but not to cut you, a lot of people think nursing is just passing meds and cleaning shit. And I've heard that a lot of times. And I'm like, why the negativity, guys? Guess what? Nursing is that, but that is a fraction. And of course, when you're talking about cleaning shit, I'm just gonna say, because we're all adults here. You understand me? These are sick people. They're coming into us at their sickest time.
and vulnerable.
Sometimes they're incontinent, of course. What are you going to do? You're going to leave your patient incontinent with their own feces on? Or are you going to help out your CNAs? And that's the other thing, working together. Your CNAs have double the patients that you do, right? Are you going to help out your CNA, or are you going to watch your CNA struggle? Your CNAs are your eyes, right? So it's about working together and stop all this negativity and all that. That's what we do. That's just a fraction of what we do.
But what you're saying, I think since COVID, the problem has been, to me personally, I can only speak for myself, is this glamorized wave of nursing lately.
TikTok,
Like they make it seem,
TikTok.
first of all, a lot of people talking about how much they make, and this is something that I've never talked about my salary or what I got paid, even before TikTok and before COVID, because I've been in an assignment where I'm getting a different rate from the same agency as somebody else on the floor. So with everybody else talking about how much money they're making, how glamorous being a nurse is, this and that, everybody's talking about nursing.
And that high salary, Addie, only came with COVID, because before COVID, I mean, nursing was a comfortable career for anybody. And like I've always advocated for, really?
It was not comfortable. That's why, to be honest, I started traveling. You'll be surprised. Like, we're in Florida.
Our lifestyle is too high, guys.
Yes, in Florida, like we have to tell the truth.
Florida
Florida is the lowest paying, one of the lowest paying states in the country. But it's never been comfortable. The reason why I started traveling, because I'm like, I cannot do this work that is so demanding, that is so stressful.
And it is.
Mentally, physically, emotionally. I have to be really compensated for it. And when I started traveling, it made sense. It's not, especially in Florida, it's not fair that you get the most work and you get paid the least.
8, 9 patients in the hospital.
As a Floridian right now, I can't remember. I have not worked in Florida since 2018, and that was the last time I left. It's because you're killing yourself. And I think if we continue this, I will show you the video where her husband had a video of me coming from work where I was sleeping in my car for like 2 hours with the engine running, because that's how exhausted I was. So we have to be honest. COVID made it where.
What I was saying was that's where they're glamorizing the career of nursing, and nurses are on YouTube and they're flashing their brand new Benz they just bought because they went on an assignment that pays them XYZ, and they're coming back and they're showing all of that stuff. And people are buying their license now because they want to get in, and they don't know that it's actual work.
A lot of work. Let's be real.
Serious work.
I don't know about her, but there are days that you don't know how many, sometimes you get UTI because you are running you're forgetting to go use the bathroom because you have to put yourself aside, because all of a sudden you're being called, you're being pulled, and you put yourself last over for the patient because you're thinking like, oh my God, I gotta take care of my patient, and it's physically, mentally, emotionally very stressful. Very. And even, for example, my sister who just started last year, first she said to me, "Man, nursing is ghetto. I'm looking for a way out. This is not what I thought it was." And you have a lot of, especially a lot of those nurses who came out of during COVID. You had a lot of nursing students because it was so bad at the height of COVID that they were actually on the floor prior to getting their license.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to all this fake nursing license, because there was a need for nurses. And let's be honest, a lot of us were scared at the height of COVID, because we didn't know what it was.
And you know what, licenses were being processed even faster to get nurses out there. And of course, there are people out there who take advantage of that. Yeah, that process. I don't know.
So, but I think this would be a good time for the Board of Nursing to look at their process.
And that's why I was mentioning it earlier that, you know, I'm happy that this happened.
I mean, I'm not happy because
change.
we need to figure out, because I know I went through, the process was so tedious for me. I can imagine how, but where, and honestly, if you have $15,000 to buy a fake license outright, and I heard in the news some of them even pay other people to me that is very nearly
other people to do what? Take the test?
To take the test.
Backside.
No, because unless, because I remember you have to get fingerprinted. You walk in, you can't bring anything. It's a closed room. There's video on you. I can't imagine how they were able to get through paying somebody to take the test for them. Unless they knew the answer, but you can't even know the answers to the test.
These people have balls. That's all I have to say.
Because I just don't know how that could take
that
place.
Process.
The process. All you had to we just feel like do the work. It's a little bit long. You could start even as an LPN. An LPN. That's 1 year. And they even bought the LPN license too. That's
LPN, but a real LPN license
would take you
1
a year.
year, guys. 1 year, and then while your work is as an LPN and working that extra income, you go to RN school. That's another 1 year.
And you could have just done your CNA. I don't think nobody wants to do your CNA. That could be in a few weeks. Do that. Get into the LPN program. That would have been where you're getting your skills. And
you need the skills.
You need that hands-on experience. The book itself is not the same.
Guys, my first nursing job, the day that I was going to graduate from school, I heard that they were hiring at a particular hospital. I did not even have my license yet. I went there and I put in my application because they were hiring something called intern nurse, where it's a graduate, but you're not registered yet. And I remember I went down, I put in my application, then they called me in less than 2-3 days. And it was at a hospital on the orthopedic floor. Yes. And I got 6 weeks or 8 weeks
of training. Orientation
and
with a
within that 6 weeks
nurse.
or 8 weeks, you would have had to take your boards, because by the end of that training, you have to be a registered nurse. And of course, I went and took my boards and I passed, and then they transitioned you over to a registered nurse working on the orthopedic unit now.
But you were shadowing. She was shadowing.
Oh yes, I was shadowing a very well-established nurse.
Would help you every step of the way.
Every step of the way. I could not do IV pushes, but I could give regular pills, and I could do assessments and stuff, but I could not do any IV push. Couldn't hang any type of antibiotic. Anything that went intravenously, I couldn't do. But everything else I could do, like, give meds. But when I'm giving the medication, she had to be there. And that is after graduation. So even on top of that, I still got training within the hospital. Addie, this orthopedic floor, guys, patients are coming directly from the OR. They're on PCA pump, which is the medication, heavy medication, or is in a pump where they have to do it themselves. They're on epidural drip. And you have to make sure that you're assessing these people constantly, because the thing with the epidural drip, it can, it can travel upwards and it can stop you from breathing. So you have to do constant monitoring. And I remember I got so much training. I was competent in less than a year. I was so confident that I went night shift, which I thought would be a little bit easier. But the point I'm trying to make is that's the type of training that I got, because these are the type of people that you're taking care of. So just imagine now, during the pandemic, a nurse get hired on this orthopedic floor who have absolutely no training. This patient is on IV medication, is on a PCA pump with Dilaudid or morphine IV, They have an epidural drip going. They're not being properly assessed.
And your eyes have to look. You
by
have
the
to
time you go
assess
back,
because their respiration. If they're
what?
you know.
By the time you go back to that
vital signs.
resident room, the resident is dead. Why? Because you had no clue what you
to
were
do.
doing. You need to go to jail.
It's not funny.
It's a
not
criminal
funny, but the way
act.
she said it.
It's a criminal act.
She said you need to go to jail.
No, like I said, I didn't feel that way at first, but now that we get more and more into this, jail or probation or something.
But I'm still shocked that they were able to do this. It's not like you. It's one thing if you're gonna do this as a CNA, as a certified nurse aide, right? Because you can learn it on the job, you know. But I heard a lot of those nurses were traveling. As a travels nurse, you may get 2 days of orientation just to kind of know. And I'm sure during COVID, you probably didn't even get that. That you're on your own.
Guys, all
That is scary.
If these people can do something so major as to buy a license, the patient in the bed, they don't care about us. They don't care about the patient in the bed. You understand me? These people have no ethics, guys. Do you want a nurse with no ethics to take care of you? That person can be that person who bought the license is a criminal. So do you want a criminal to be taking care of you?
But now we just find we used to be the number one trusted profession
was nursing.
For forever. Forever. That's out the window now.
Yeah, you know what? I did a paper in college and it was all about the image of a nurse. And while I was doing that paper and doing my research, it was the number one trusted profession was a nurse. Because guess what? Because not even the doctor, because nurse was the one that was doing the hands-on work. The doctor only give the order. We have to do whatever that order is, which is an IV push, whatever it is.
But no, sometimes you have to question that order.
True. True.
It's very important that you have, again, how do you know, like, so you're just going to give the medication?
Yeah. Or call the pharmacy when you see something is not right.
It's not right. Oh, this person, you could be hanging heparin,
at a rate that it shouldn't go. Girl,
it shouldn't go. Now the patient has a nosebleed. Do you stop? There's so many different little things that.
Yeah, we can go on and on about this, but I want to get into personal experience with nurses that we know.
I cannot talk about that because
I'm gonna dive into certain things. It happened so long ago, and this couple of people, they did get fired after a while. We were like, wait a minute. So this first one, I'm not gonna call any names. I'm not gonna say where I was working. Nothing. We had a gentleman who was a nurse, and I didn't orient him. He oriented with somebody, but that person came and told me like, this person is not a nurse. Oh, okay. I didn't orient him, so I don't have the experience. But one time, a family member came running up the hallway. I probably shouldn't say this, but I can cut this out. Running up the hallway, I said, this nurse, the family member said they don't want this nurse to ever go back in his mom's room. So we were like, what happened? What happened? So let me give you a little background. When you have a wound that is deep, sometimes they use packing in that particular wound, you know? And they had this packing, it's called new gauze. And that new gauze is a long gauze, but it has medication in it. So when you're packing it deep in the wound, you know, the deep part of the wound can get the particular medication that is infused in that particular gauze. So the nurse she said the nurse came in to did her mom dressing, and she noticed that he did not take out the gauze that was already in the deep wound. He was just packing in new gauze. And she said,
remove the old one?
No. And so therefore he did not even wash the wound. But that part is speculation because she didn't say that. But she said something to him like, to the effect like, wait a minute, why are you doing that? You didn't take out the old packing. And he looked up at her puzzled like, what are you talking about? And she got scared, guys, because she knew right away that this person that is taking care of her mom did not know what the hell they were doing. And of course, he was hard-headed. You know, you'll be talking to him and correcting him, and he's still doing it. And that was what was happening. So she ran out of the room to get us to help. So another nurse went in and pretty much dragged him out of the room and tell him to stop what he was doing right away, right? And of course, we reported to the supervisor, and the company took it further.
Honestly, I feel like nursing is already so intense for us to highlight our experiences that we've seen. Is going to make the general population more scared. And,
okay, so
you know, so that like we have experienced things,
scary situations,
you know, but at the same time,
near misses,
and but there's always somebody there to, you know, if I see something, I'm gonna say something just to make sure that the patient is safe. I don't care if you don't like me, and it's not about being.
Well, I think this one I can say. While I was working at the hospital one time, I don't know what had happened, but we had a policy where if you had to give insulin, another nurse had to check it off before they, you know, you go. So obviously they probably had an incident while they implemented that. So
it's called double verify.
And so a nurse came to me and she had the insulin already in the insulin syringe and going. And so she wanted me to sign off in the computer that I verify the medication. So first of all, and remember this guys, first of all, I did not see you pull up that solution in the syringe. And number two, while I was looking at the syringe, I noticed it was a sub-Q syringe. It wasn't an insulin syringe with units on there. It was a sub-Q syringe with cc's on there. And I caught that right away. And I told her, I'm like, wait a minute. I said, this is not a insulin syringe. I said, it's a cc regular sub-Q syringe. And honestly, guys, she looked at me like I didn't know.
Like a deer.
Yes, like she didn't know. But that one, we caught that, you know? And that's the thing. It was, you know, like a double verify before that happened. But I can go on and on, but I won't even.
I mean, those are all the things, for example, that you need to know. Which syringe to use. How to draw the medicine.
Double check.
You have to double check with another nurse. And sometimes especially with insulin, you have to check to make sure that the person is giving the right dose. But it's just a lot. We can sit here and talk about all the things that happen, but again, nursing is, you don't gain the skills in school
until you hit the
get
floor.
the knowledge in school, but when you hit the floor, you get the skill because you need that knowledge to say, oh yeah, I'm doing this and this for that.
That's why I always say nursing school is just a reference point, because when you get on the floor and you're in a certain situation, you can say, I remember something similar I read in school. Yes, I mean, of course, the way how the book tell you how to do it is not necessarily the way you're going to do it.
And the anatomy is not so nicely presented, like you're doing a Foley, you know. But again, the most important thing, you don't know how many times I come in, I'm giving a patient medication. I have to look at the vital signs. Like I know for sure if I'm giving the person let's say a heart medicine, the blood pressure is low, or if I'm giving the heart rate is low or the blood pressure is low, I have to use my knowledge to say, oh, I'm not going to give you your blood pressure meds. Let me call the doctor and says, hey, I'm giving this person's blood pressure is 100/50. You know, I don't want to bottom them out. But if you don't have the skill, you probably don't even look for the vital signs.
Just give the medication,
or
and then
the heart rate is
patient
in the 40s. I've had patients who are in continuous in like something like a beta blocker. Their heart rate is trending low. You have to know to stop and ask the doctor, can I hold this, or what do you want me to do? You have to look at the lab before, if the patient is changing, like you may start a conversation with the patient and a couple hours later you're like, and it's that feeling. I don't like something's going on. Let me get some vitals. You know, you have to have those. It comes with skills and experience, and you can't do that if you don't know the basics.
And they do not. They do not know the basics. I mean, I know how. And these are the people, honey, who went out and make all that COVID money. Okay.
So, if you guys are really liking this topic and you have questions, always feel free to ask them, post them, then we can answer the questions. We've been friends.
We probably can, wait, we can probably can do that. You have anything for me to change into?
I'm not changing it like this.
Guys, this is what I have to put up with. Jesus, go ahead.
The boobs is boobing.
Speaking of a serious topic, and our boobs are all out, but that's okay. Okay, I think we should segment off and wrap it up from the other topic, because we didn't even do that, of fake nursing license in Florida. So we want to wrap up this segment talking about, actually we already spoke on quite a few topics about the fake nursing license in Florida, and nursing from all over this country, United States, are coming to Florida, buying these licenses and going back to their states and working under those fake licenses and putting nurses, residents, patients, and patient family at risk for death, more chronic illnesses, psychological effects. And the only takeaway that I have from this is it is completely wrong. As nurses, we have to set ourselves at a higher standards. You understand me? We are a registered nurse. We're here to take care of residents. We're advocating for residents. We're advocating for patients. And we should continue to do that, not by stealing, not by deceptive mode, not by buying license. Those are all wrong. And, unfortunately, I truly believe, I want to finish up by saying that there should be some repercussion. There should be some jail time. There should be some probation period for this. I mean, it is completely wrong. We already discussed all that we had to say. So I just want you guys to, just give us some questions, put some questions in the description below. And so we can get back to you. We can have a very deep discussion about this, respectfully. No hate words, no nationality bashing. We're not here for that. This platform here is neutral discussion. You can have a strong opinion, but you cannot have a disrespectful opinion on this platform. So be respectful, guys, and have a good night. Addie, you have any takeaway?
I think you said it all. People's lives have been endangered by this whole scenario. So we just have to our level of respect was so high as a profession. Now I'm afraid that we're gonna be the butt of jokes. And it's sad, but however, we need, as a profession, do protect each other, protect the patients, and also I think this is going to change a lot of
which it should.
It's going to change a lot of the systems that we use, and also it might make the NCLEX even harder, I'm assuming.
Maybe it should.
And the process is going to be harder. And next time we can talk about the process.
But I heard that the process is going to change.
But it's been hard. The NCLEX is not an easy exam.
No, but now it's not going to be like what do you call it? What do you call it? Question and answers. What do you call that platform? I forgot now.
It's
multiple choice. Yeah, I heard it's no longer going to be multiple choice. Some multiple choice, but now they're going to have discussion page where you have to do some scenarios. So I heard that's what I heard. I'm not sure. I didn't do the research on that.
But it was interesting to see all what was happening but the discussion. But I think, like she said, respect, and also for all the other bloggers, people posting, making fun of the situation. But there's consequences to those. Although it's fun for now, but we who look like us on the floor working with are going to be scrutinized, because guess what, they're posting all the schools, they're naming who it was that were the culprits and who were the people that were involved. So now, I
mean, they can do all of that, and I think they should put those people on blast, but don't turn it into a race war.
It's gonna be
or a nationality war. I mean, that makes no sense. But people have their own opinion and their own wicked opinion, and they'll share that, and to make a little bit of money on this platform.
But was it worth it though?
It's never worth it.
I just want to know, for you that took the shortcut, was it really worth it?